Charles and Camilla rented a furnished apartment on the 3rd floor of a house in Northampton. Stepping inside, one found oneself in a small living room with slanted walls and dormer windows. The armchairs and the lumpy sofa were upholstered in dusty brocades, threadbare at the arms, rose patterns on tan, acorns and oak leaves on mossy green. Everywhere were tattered doilies, dark with age. On the mantel of the fireplace, which later I discovered was inoperable, glittered a pair of lead glass candelabra and a few pieces of tarnished silver plate. Though not untidy exactly, it verged on being so. Books were stacked on every available surface. The tables were cluttered with papers, ashtrays, bottles of whiskey, boxes of chocolates, umbrellas and galoshes made passage difficult in the narrow hall. Camilla's net table was littered with empty teacups, leaky pens, dead marigolds in a water glass, and on the foot of her bed was laid a half-played game of solitaire. I have this, I call it a sunroom, but really it's a converted balcony. And it's in a bit of a sorry state. Over here is the graveyard of my musical ambition. Don't ask. It's great for the plants, and they seem to be really enjoying themselves, but other than my plants, this room is kind of a catchment area for random things. I'm not too happy with the color on the wall anymore. I like that it's green, but it's the wrong green, if you know what I mean. Oh, and this red sideboard. I have issues with it. I don't know how to resolve them right now. There's my grandma's dollhouse. Stacks of books and pictures I don't want on my wall anymore. But the room has what real estate people call potential. And I'm hoping to coax out some of that potential. I already started by making some curtains. And I turned that process into a video, if you're curious how I did that. Hanging curtains in a sunroom might sound a bit counterintuitive, but I want to turn this corner into a reading nook. I've moved the plants out now. Over here into the living room. There's only one window here, so they aren't going to be happy in here for long. I also already took a trip to the hardware store for painting and cleaning supplies. These plants are so pretty, and they deserve nicer surroundings, so let's get to work. Everything is moved out, and I've turned it into a murder room. I know you don't need to know this, but it's August and everything is covered in plastic and I am dripping in sweat. It's absolutely miserable. I covered the floor with newspapers, and that's the story of the only time I bought a newspaper in probably 5 years. After some paint swatches, I settled on a color for the wall, and hilariously it was none of these, but I settled on a pot of paint I happened across at a hardware store and I immediately fell in love with the color. Goodbye, old color. You've outstayed your welcome. This will definitely take more than one coat. Ooh, nice. Still looks a bit splotchy because the paint hasn't fully dried yet. I also have to do some details around the lamp. Up by the ceiling where I got a little over-enthusiastic. And around the window frames. But, good news, I love the color! In my reading nook, I want to do something a little bit special. I'm using a stencil that is definitely not made for spray paint, but spray was the nicest gold they had, so I'll happily trade smooth lines for sparkle. Oh, by the by, don't use spray paint indoors. In this room, I'm literally surrounded by windows, and as soon as I was done, I left the room to vent for a few hours. Right now is not a good time to screw with your respiratory system. Good news, by the by, now that I changed the color of the wall, I actually really like the red sideboard, so saved myself some work there. The rest of the work was mostly cleaning, including the 10 minutes I spent trying to get a stain off the stone until I realized it's not a stain, it's discoloration. By the by, since we're talking dark academia, I just wanted to say, you should definitely read ancient Greek plays if you want to, and listen to French pop music from the 60s. Don't buy into some bullshit idea of elites forged in the crucible of Ivy League education. If you're old money, that means your ancestors were creeps. If you're new money, that means that you're a creep. If you don't come from elites, there's at least a chance you come from good people. Good for you. I took apart an old cube shelf and I'm adding wheels to make a little skateboard for my book stacks. Because I like book stacks, but I want to be able to move them easily to vacuum and whatnot. The aloes are going to be really grateful for some more diffused light. Then I literally knitted a blanket and embroidered a pillow just because of the secret history quote about oak leaves and acorns on mossy green. I'm just adding this bit so I can get a little bit more screen time out of them. This was so much work. And yes, I know technically it doesn't actually work because the oak leaves describe the brocades, but I wasn't about to recover my armchair for a second time. More aloes, and lemongrass, turmeric, a little lemon tree in the making, and ginger in the corner. And that's done! It was lots of work. I spent around 30 euros for paint, brushes and cleaning supplies. But now I can spend time here, enjoy my plants, and to be honest, the best thing about this room is to sit out here when it's raining, sipping tea and listening to some music. Amazing. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I gave you some ideas in case you're in the market for home improvement.